Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, November the 5th, 2019. It is currently 9 a.m. Central Time. Well, last night, right before I went to bed, I decided to change my overnight routine. You see, what I typically do is right before I fall asleep, I turn on family radio and I listen to it during the overnight hours. But last night I decided to change things up. Instead of family radio, I was going to listen to Redeemer Broadcasting overnight. Now, one of the big differences between family radio and Redeemer Broadcasting is Redeemer Broadcasting, at the top and bottom of every hour, they play about a 4-minute news update from SRN News. So that means, for example, midnight, you get a news update. At 12:30 a.m., you get a news update. At 1 a.m., you get a news update. At 1:30, you get the idea. Family radio does not do that. So last night, I decided, okay, Redeemer Broadcasting it is. So I turned it on, got comfortable, started listening, started falling asleep. Somewhere, I think it was either the 3 a.m. news update or the 3:30 a.m. news update, I heard a story, something about fires, California, grass. Didn't really process it. It was kind of foggy. I tried to tell myself, okay, there's something going on with the fires. Maybe there's a new one. Maybe they're spreading. Not really hearing this. I just tried to tell myself, remember this when I wake up, to look it up just to see if something significant is going on. I didn't process it very well. Went back to sleep. Either the 4 a.m. or the 4:30 a.m. news update, I heard the same story, but this time I kind of caught on a little bit. They were saying something about they think they found the reason why these fires have been so frequent and why they're spreading, and it has something to do with some kind of grass. And I was like, wait, that's interesting. Okay, all right. I need to look this up. And I remember going back to sleep. Somewhere around 5 or 5:30 a.m., I heard the same story. This time I was thinking, okay, well, this is good news, right? If they think that this kind of grass is causing the problem, then maybe there's a way to remove it, to replace it. This will help protect people's property, keep people safe, reduce the number of fires, maybe stop the fires from spreading. This is good news. And I didn't really give it much thought. Then about 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m., I heard the same story. This time when I heard the story, I was far more alert. And immediately I was like, wait a minute. I think there's like a spiritual lesson in this news story. I think there's something here to consider. So I got up, started getting ready for the day. And I'm like, okay, I need to find this news story. Started searching. And I found it about an hour ago. I haven't had a chance to record, but I found the news story. And what I want to do is share the news story and offer some possible spiritual lessons that I take from it. Now, you may think that these are good spiritual lessons. You may not. You may not think they're really related to the story. Maybe I started drawing this connection in the fog of sleep. Maybe you'll think it's foolish, but I think there's a lesson in this for us to really consider. All right. So here is the story. This is the story I believe they were referring to. I don't know. They may have been using a different source, but here is the headline. Study: alien grasses spark more fires. Alien grasses spark more fires. Okay, that raises kind of okay, what do you mean alien grasses? Okay, what are you talking about? Well, this is the sub-headline. That's the main headline. Study: alien grasses spark more fires. Sub-headline: non-native species act as little arsonist grasses, experts say. All right. Now, this kind of gives me a clue. We have non-native species. So we have grass that shows up in an area and it's not native to that area. It's placed there. Someone puts it there. It ends up there and it's not native to that area. And this non-native species act as little arsonist grasses. This is what the experts are saying. Okay, that to me is really interesting. Some spiritual ideas start coming to mind. Let's read a little bit from this article. Washington. For much of the United States, Invasive grass species are making wildfires more frequent, especially in fire-prone California, a new study finds. 12 non-native species act as little arsonists, said study co-author Bethany Bradley, a University of Massachusetts professor of environmental conservation. Wherever the common Mediterranean grass invades, including California's southern desert, fires flare up 3 times more often. And cheatgrass, which covers about one third of the Intermountain West, is a big-time fire promoter, Bradley said. I would not be surprised at all if invasive grass are playing a role in the current fires, but I don't think we can attribute to them directly, Bradley said. All right. Now, there's a little bit more to the story, but you get the basic idea. I think you get the basic idea. Here we have invasive grass, or non-native grass, or alien grass that moves into a region, is planted in a region for whatever reason. It doesn't really belong there. It's not native there, but it ends up there. And this acts as kindling. It acts as a little arsonist, and it makes the fires more frequent, causes them to spread, etc., etc. So I sat back and I started thinking about this from a spiritual perspective. We know that obviously the biggest danger for us in our spiritual life in regards to sin, ungodliness, making horrible decisions, is first and foremost is our native depravity. We already have our depravity. It's there, okay? It's there. We know it's, the source of all of our problems. We are born sinners. We have a sinful nature, okay? We don't become sinners by sinning, but we sin because we are sinners. Very important principle. That is what we are. We are sinners by nature. That's why we are drawn to sin. That's what we are. And we need something supernatural, to save us, because obviously we cannot save ourselves because even our nature is depraved. All right. So sin is our natural bent. That's where we're going to go. So we already know that's a problem. However, I think we can admit that there are things we bring into our life. We'll call it non-native grass, right? Things that we choose to plant in our life, things we add into our life, right? They're there for whatever reason. Maybe it invades, maybe it moves in, maybe you have a job and then something starts happening at work that you didn't really plan for, but something moves in. It's now a part of your life, something you have to deal with. And without knowing it, this new thing is kind of a kindling. It's going to be a little arsonist that could blow up into a grass fire in your spiritual life. Set your spiritual life and, put it into flames. Just absolutely burn it down. And I think that we have to be honest with this. Let me give you an example. We all know we have a sinful nature. But we know that at times we bring things into our life. Let's just use, for example, social media. All right? We bring social media into our life. And the next thing we know, this social media is dominating our life. It's controlling all of our time, controlling all of our thoughts. We're dominated by it. We're not setting our affections on things above. We're setting our affections on what's happening on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook, you name it, Snapchat, you just name whatever social media platform. And you're always looking down at your device, looking for another notification, looking at what people are saying. You're making sure you throw in your 2 cents. You're arguing with people. You're getting angry. You're getting mad. And the next thing you know, you're literally bowing before the altar of social media pretty much every time you turn around. That's where your focus is. That's where your attention is. Now, you may try to deny it. But if someone was to really monitor the time, you'd be like, you're burning down your spiritual life by giving all of your attention and all of your passion and all of your zeal and all of your thoughts and all of your focus to what's happening on social media. It's literally sparked a fire that is devastating you spiritually. It's becoming your God. It's becoming your idol. You need to do something about it. Or it could now that's already bad enough, but then it could spark into something really bad. You could get on social media, you start having contacts with all kinds of people, and the next thing you know, it goes from friendly contact to an inappropriate relationship. And now it sparks into a fire and it blows up and burns your life down. take it from me, that's not a good thing, and it is a real danger. It could be all kinds of things that we bring into. It could be an internet connection. Next thing you know, you have a full-blown porn addiction. It could be a cell phone that you now have access to pornography everywhere you go. All right. It could be a number. Every person is different. Every person is different. But I think sometimes we can call it alien grass, non-native grass, something in our life that's been planted that may appear to be innocent at first. I mean, it's just grass. I mean, look at it. That's not harming anything. In fact, it's pretty. There's nothing to worry about. And then you find out by some study, wait a minute, that non-native grass, it's a little arsonous and it's causing the fires to be more frequent, and we need to do something about it. Something happens in our spiritual life. It looks okay. It looks harmless. It's no big deal. But what is it doing to your spiritual life? Is it serving as a little arsonist to set your spiritual life on fire? And sometimes we don't know the danger until the house is on fire, until it becomes a big deal. See, something can be burning up your spiritual life and no one else even notices. It doesn't seem to be that big a deal. It's a little small fire in the backyard. Nobody really notices it. But once it explodes, it can turn into something that everyone knows. But even if no one ever knows about it, if it's burning down your spiritual life, if it's draining your passion and zeal and hunger for God, if it's taking away time for the things of God, if it's hurting your family, hurting your marriage, hurting whatever, you name it, then you have to go, wait a minute. We've got to uproot this non-native grass, this alien grass. We've got to get rid of it. We've got to remove it. We've got to replace it. We need to uproot it and plant it with spiritual things. I think there is a story there. And again, let me just read that headline again. Okay, because I think it's important. Alien grasses spark more fires. Non-native species act as little arsonists. Okay, what alien grass has been planted in your spiritual life? What non-native grass has been planted in your spiritual life? You already got your depravity to cause the problem. Now, if it has a little non-native grass planted there that it can spark, that serves as a little arsonist, you put the two together, you get an out-of-control grass fire, and the next thing, your spiritual life, all you have is ashes remaining around you. And you never realize how you end up there. It may not turn into public scandal. It may be, I don't want you, because some people will go, well, nothing major has happened, but how is your spiritual life? What is burning your spiritual life down? You want to be building your spiritual life up. You want to be growing, becoming stronger, okay? Becoming, a more committed disciple. Put the fires out. Remove the non-native grass. Plant the spiritual food, the spiritual grass that will spark spiritual growth. I think there is an illustration there. Maybe I did not perfectly illustrate it. Maybe I did not perfectly articulate it, but there's something there to think about. Now, if you have some scripture that you think applies to this concept, email that scripture to me at newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. I haven't even bothered to start looking for scripture on this concept, but I think there's something here, and I just wanted to throw the idea out this morning as soon as I had the opportunity. And then we'll see if it sparks an interesting conversation today, then that's always wonderful. So if you can think of some scriptures, you can go, I think that kind of applies here. I know it's not it's an illustration. Illustrations are not perfect. I understand that. But they serve to kind of make us think about taking something, a story from the news, but looking at it in a spiritual way to see what kind of spiritual lesson we can learn. So what scripture do you think applies to this concept? Email it to me at newsif@yahoo.com. Well, give it some thought today. Look at your life. What non-native grass, what alien grass is in your life that's really serving as kindling or as little arsonists to really burn down your spiritual effectiveness, your spiritual life, to bring damage to your family, damage to your kids? Give it some thought. On this Tuesday, November the 5th, 2019. May God bless you as you meditate on His Word today.